Hello students, in the previous lesson you have already learned about the classification of crops. Today you are going to learn about the crop production and the management. Now, cultivation of crops involves different types of agricultural practices. Now, what is the meaning of agricultural practices? Agricultural practices means a collection of principles that are to be applied for farm production to get better agricultural products. Basically, they are simply practices used in agriculture to facilitate farming. Now, these practices involve preparation of soil, sowing, adding manure and fertilizers, irrigation, protection from weeds and pests, harvesting and storage. Now, we are going to learn in detail about this kind of practices. The first one is preparation of soil. Now, preparation of soil is the first step in agriculture. It means preparing soil for sowing seeds. It involves plowing soils like this plow. This is the plow, and this plow is used to turn the soil and to loosen it. Now, why it is required? Loosening soils will help the roots to go deep into the soil and allows them to breathe easily. Okay, after plowing, the next step is leveling the soil. And the leveling the soil is done to level the soil such that the topsoil does not blow out by the wind. After that, manuring the soil is done. That is to add fertilizers in order to enhance the fertility of the soil. And this is done with the help of various tools. The main tool that I've already described is the plow. This plow is used since ancient times for tilling the soil, adding fertilizers to the crop, removing the weeds, scrapping of soil and so on. And this plow is basically made up of wood, see, and it is usually drawn by a pair of bulls or other animals, as you can see in the picture. It can be horses, it can be camels. Okay, now it contains a strong triangular iron strip known as plowshare. This one. Another type of tool can also be used, that is hoe. This hoe is a long rod of wood or iron. It is a simple tool which is used for removing woods, weeds and for loosening the soil, as you can see here in the picture. Nowadays, plowing is done by tractor-driven cultivator like this. The use of cultivator basically saves labor and time. Next is sowing. Now, sowing is an art of placing seeds in the soil at a particular depth for good germination of the seeds. Now, before sowing, one thing that should be done is selection of seed. This selection of seed is to be done properly. Now, how to select seeds? Damaged seeds, they become hollow, light in weight. Therefore, they will float on water. This is actually a good method for separating the good healthy seeds from the damaged ones. So, judgment has to be done properly whether the seed is good or bad. Now, good seeds obviously will yield good plant. Different tools are used for sowing seeds. Nowadays, the seed drill is used for sowing with the help of tractors. This tool sows the seeds uniformly at proper distances and depths. Not only that, it also ensures that the seeds get covered by the soil after sowing. This prevents damage caused by birds. So it saves not only time but also labor. Now, just now I said that seeds are to be sowed at proper distances and depths. Why? Because this appropriate distance between the seed is very important, because it avoids overcrowding of plants. And this allows plants to get sufficient sunlight, nutrient and water from the soil. Next step is adding manure and fertilizers. Now, as you can see in the picture here, farmer is adding manures. And what are these manures? Manures are basically organic substances. These are obtained by cow dung, human waste. Continuous growing of crops makes the soil poorer in certain nutrients. At that time, manures are used to overcome that. Farmers dump plants or animal wastes in pits at open places and allow it to decompose. And this decomposition is caused by some microorganisms. And the decomposed matter is used as organic manures. And these manures, when spread to the field, will enrich or enhance the fertility of the soil. Now, farmers also use fertilizers. Now, what are these fertilizers? Fertilizers are chemical substances which are rich in a particular nutrient and are produced in factories. Urea, ammonium sulfate, superphosphate, potash, NPK, commonly known as the nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Okay, these are common examples of fertilizers. And the use of fertilizers has helped farmers to get better yield of crops such as wheat, paddy, maize. But excessive use of it will cause harmful effects to the soil. So farmers should know the correct amount of application of fertilizers. Next, coming to the irrigation. Now, water plays an important role in all living beings, as we all know that. We can't live without water. Now, water is important also for the proper growth and development of flowers, fruits and seeds of plants. So, to maintain the moisture of the soil for healthy crop growth, fields have to be watered regularly. So, irrigation is that process of supplying of water to crops at different intervals. Okay, the various traditional ways that were used are moat, that is the pulley system, chain pump, hekli and rahat, that is the lever system. But nowadays these are becoming obsolete and these are replaced by modern methods. Okay, and these modern methods of irrigation help us to use water economically. It does not waste water, and this includes sprinkler system and the drip system. Now the sprinkler system, this system is more useful on the uneven land where sufficient water is not available. Here there are perpendicular pipes, as you can see in the picture here. These perpendicular pipes have rotating nozzles on the top, and these are joined to the main pipelines at regular intervals. When the water is allowed to flow through the main pipe under pressure with the help of a pump, it escapes from the rotating nozzles, as you can see in the picture here. See, it gets sprinkled on the crops as if it is raining, and this system is very much useful for sandy soil. Another system is also implemented nowadays, that is the drip system. Here in this system, the water falls drop by drop just at the position of the roots. If you can see the picture here, you will be able to understand. That is why it is known as drip system, drop by drop. And this is the best technique for watering fruits, plants, gardens and trees. This system provides water to plant drop by drop. Water is also not wasted at all, and it is a boon in regions where there is poor availability of water. Next is protection from the weeds. Now, in a field, many unwanted plants may grow naturally along with the crop. These unwanted plants that you don't require is known as weeds, and this removal of weed is called weeding. Now, weeding should be done on a regular basis, as weeds get the share of the water, nutrients, spaces, light that is being supplied for the desirable crops, and that is resulting in competition. And this, it causes adverse effect to the growth of the crop, because the desired crop do not get sufficient favorable conditions that are being supplied. Now, weeds can be removed manually by uprooting or cutting them close to the ground from time to time. This is done with the help of khurpi, as you can see in the picture. Now, alternatively, weeds are also controlled by using certain chemicals called weedicides, like 2,4-D. These are spread in the fields like this to kill the weeds, and this will not damage the desirable crops. Next is harvesting. Now, harvesting is an important task, obviously. It is the process of removal of entire plants or economic parts after maturity. The economic product may be grain, seed leaf, roots or entire plant. And it usually takes 3 to 4 months for a cereal crop to mature. And this harvesting can be done both manually or even by a machine. If it is done manually, then sickle is used, and if it is done by a machine, then the machine is known as harvester. Now here, the grain seeds need to be separated from the chaff, and this process is known as threshing, and this can be carried out with the help of a machine called combine, which is in fact a combined harvester and a thresher. Now, farmers with small holdings of lands do the separation of grain and chaff by a process known as winnowing. The next step, last but not the least step of the agricultural practices, is storage. Now, this step is very important, and the crops have to be stored at places where moisture level is very low, which may vary for different types of grains. Now, excess moisture in the crops will promote the growth of microorganisms and can rotten or can cause harm to the crops and will cause huge losses. They are then stored in metals or earthen containers or gunny bags like this, or grain silos. The godowns where the grains are stored are first fumigated to get rid of the pests. Okay, so this was all about the agricultural practices step-wise that should be implemented in order to get a good quality crops. Thank you.